It's going to be fun. It's Father Time here. Air Force trained pilot, airline pilot. I'll be 179 years old in September. I retire from the airlines after 36 years in September of 2023. New to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've been really enjoying it. Just got it several months ago. Started the sim pilot stuff. It's a Flying Iron F6F Hellcat. Flying Iron, as I mentioned, I'm new to this stuff, but man, I love their products. The Spitfire, the P-38 Lightning, and now I'm just starting to fly this F6F Hellcat. From the guys who are the pro sim pilots that really have a large following, they say that their products are great, and it sure seems intuitively that that's the case to me as well. Um, can't say enough about them. This F6F Hellcat was built for World War II. It was a carrier-based fighter flown by the Navy and the Marines as well as the Royal Naval Corps. It was meant to replace the F4F Wildcats. This is the Hellcat, F6F Hellcat, it's F4F Wildcats, because the Japanese Zeros were really doing a number on us, and this airplane did quite well against them. It's could wide range of speeds, fast acceleration, had folding wings for carrier takeoffs for carrier storage, uh, but it really was very successful. 2,000 horsepower Pratt & Whitney engine. Same engine that was used on the Corsair and the P-47. By the way, I'm just getting this information from the Flying Iron simulation uh, manual. They offer an operating manual, which is great. I've read through that prior to flying this. I've only got about an hour on this thing. And they also offer paint kits. Really super product. It's well worth the money if you do have it. It made its combat debut in 1943, and it was best known for its role as a rugged, well-designed carrier fighter, which was able to outperform the Japanese Zero and help with their superiority over the Pacific. In total, 12,275 built in just 2 years. Wow. I think we build about 100 a year now of these high-level F-35 type fighters. Hellcats were credited with destroying a total of 5,223 enemy aircraft while in service, and it remained in service in some form or another until 1954. So, quite the little airplane. F6F-5 Hellcat, and this simulated one is built by Flying Iron. Without further ado, what I would like to do is start engines methodically, taxi out down here, straight ahead, take off on runway 29 at North Island in San Diego, go downtown San Diego and try to land on the static display Midway with all those airplanes on the deck, which is not going to work out. We're going to give it a shot though. Apologize to any carrier-based pilots that really know what they're doing. As I mentioned, I don't. So it's a lot of fun though. Let's just have some fun. So first thing I noticed is parking brakes on this thing. It spawns without them parked. This time they are parked. I'm a liar. But they weren't. When I started engines, it stuck the propeller in the ground. So a couple other intuitive things I know. But non-intuitive things that I'll point out as we go along. Flying Iron. If you haven't bought one of them, as I mentioned, P-38 Spitfire, and this one's the F6F Hellcat. They have a tablet, modern tablet, iPad. A lot of cool things on it. It's got a checklist. I'm going to use the Microsoft Flight Simulator checklist when I do it because it has these little cheats, as you know, here that will locate different items for you. Not being familiar with the aircraft, I'm going to use that. But Flying Iron's tablet. It does have its own checklist. And this checklist, some of the information not available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator is available here, such as this stuff is pretty standard. Takeoff power, throttle. I'm going to be using manifold pressure down here, a little over 44 for normal. It really doesn't, it accelerates, it lifts off very early. Max is 54. This is water injection. It had a water injection system that would spit water into the engine, increase the air density, sort of like a little afterburner on the modern day fighters. Won't be using that though. Approach and landing. Uh, speeds. Let's see, V speeds right here. Some interesting things. This one is in knots on the airspeed indicator. P-38 and Spitfire were in miles per hour, but this one is in knots. A couple of important speeds that I want to point out. Gear is 135 knots. Once you get the gear down, you pretty much start getting your full flaps. So the flaps, you can start getting out at 170, which is well above the gear speed, which is unusual, all the way down to flaps 50 at 90 knots. I'll be using flaps 50. I'll get them out at about 110. Try to fly about a 90. What kind of final? But a threshold crossing of 80. So I'll fly about a 90 knot final. Cross the threshold at 80. Stalls at 53. With full flaps, stalls at 53. Got some other speeds in there. But anyway, so it gives you those V speeds there. Live data when you get going, you can check it if you don't want to use the engine instruments. Gives you some stats later on. You can change the fuel load here. Autopilot. If you got a long flight, let's say you were simulating taking off with the Spitfire out of Goodwood Airfield in southern England for Normandy to fly over the Normandy invasion beaches, you could use the autopilot and go get a cup of coffee because it's about a 40-minute flight. It's got a little workshop you can use here. Settings. Gun sight or GPS. Like the iPad, it's not available, so we won't be using that. There's a GPS if you needed it in the real life, in that modern day, but I'm going to use the gun sight because it didn't have GPS. You can hide the stick using this, but of course you can click on the stick and hide it as well. I'm going to use the pilot, and then this is simplified ground handling. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use differential braking. But if you did not have rudder pedals, it's going to be pretty hard for you to taxi a tail dragger because you need differential braking. So they would have simplified ground handling, which is cool. You can get a pushback if your nose happens to be against your cart. And I've got the dynamic engine stresses on just so that I can't cheat and keep it at mill power the whole time. Still the tablet. Once again, the tablet's down here. I think P-38 is down here. And on the Spitfire, you got to click up here, but you can Google and find out where it is on any particular aircraft. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Flying Iron. So let's get started. Engine start. Cowl flaps full open. Cowl flaps full open. So these flight simulator, I can click on the right like this and see where it is. Throttle 20%, throttle 20%. Naturally, as I become more familiar, I want it to do that. Mixture auto lean. Right now it's way back, so let's go auto lean. Auto lean's right there. You got auto rich and full rich, which will be in eventually. Auto lean, I noticed that after we started engines last time, it was already in full rich. Auto rich. Supercharger, I would normally do that, but it's not available. Battery on, off to the right. A lot of left and right here. So there's batteries on. Click it. Fuel selector back to the right, left. Fuel selector 1, 2, 3. It's on right main. Right main. Fuel pumps on. That's right here. Fuel pumps on. I can click these off for checklist discipline. Fuel pressure back to the right. Fuel pressure 8. Yes, sir. Primer 3 to 5 seconds. Primer. It says under primed. When it says ready, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Oh, didn't go up, did it? 1001, 1002, 1003, 1003. It is ready. And ignition on both, back to the left. Oops, get the checklist out of the way. 1, 2, 3, it's both. And starter on. Okay, good luck starting this bad boy. Nice, huh? I'm going to close the canopy just because it's so noisy. They took off and landed with the canopy open for evacuation. Also, you can see, you lean out as you taxi. You can S-turn and lean out. Mixture auto rich. Auto rich. It went from auto lean to auto rich by itself. Max RPM 40, 1,000 until you're above 40. So let's go back here. Set the RPM down here. 1,000. So 40. And there it is at 50. It's 55. Bottom line, little taxi check. Cowl flaps full open. They're full open. Tail wheel unlocked. It's unlocked. Lock it for takeoff. Lights as required. All the lights are over here. Most of them are already on. Put them all on right. I don't know why. Why not? RPM for taxi, low and steady. We're going to short taxi, so I'm going to do the run-up check here. Wing spread and lock. It's interesting. So this is the locking mechanism. See, it's locked, unlocks. You would unlock it, roll it to stow the wings on the deck. If you have to get the wings up. So there's two sections. But what we're going to do is go here and lock them. Rev to clear. Clear. Cowl flaps half open. Half open. Coil shutter all the way open. It's open. Intercooler shutter's closed. It's closed. That'd be open. It's closed. Propeller full increase. This is not intuitive. I mentioned there were a couple of things. Propeller, this is full throttle. That's full mixture. This is not full propeller. You got to go down. Full increase down here. So if the aircraft's not accelerating when you bring the power up, you probably have not on full increase on your propeller. Mixture auto wrench. It's already an auto wrench. Carburetor protector full in. It's in. That's out. That's in. Fuel valves should still be right main. There it is, right main. Fuel pressure to the right. 60 is in the green. Cabin hood open. Nope, we got it closed. Rudder tab 2 marks right. So I do believe we're going to do this until go to the right until that number 2 is on the bottom of the case. Close enough. 2, there it is. Elevator tab neutral, it's neutral. If you wanted to move it, you can move it here. Aileron tab neutral, and it is neutral. So that's the run-up check complete. Takeoff, what's on there, trim is necessary. Wing flaps is required. Why don't we put down a little flaps just to say we did. So I want to find the wing flaps lever here. Full. I think the flap lever, the flap indicator rather, it's right up here. You can try something. Yeah, there it is. See that? Let's go with 50% flaps. It's either full up or full down. tail draggers. They did S-turns on taxi out. Kind of funny, they actually did them in formation, which, oof, man, I'd be a little nervous. The canopy was open. You could probably stick their head out and get a little better view, sit up higher. Generally, it's pretty intimidating. Taxi out in formation in one of these bad boys. I'm just looking left to right, not doing a lot of weaving. I'd be requesting permission to take off, clearing downwind, straight ahead, both base turns. I'll be looking up overhead, see if anyone's in the brake. Cleared into position. Runway 29, finals clear. Differential brakes. I'm going to stop on the runway and get lined up a little bit. Using a little right brake here. Checks. Start bringing up the engine instruments. One last chance to look around. Gauges. No unwanted lights. Clear for takeoff. Every tail dragger, right? Use slow power increase. And they use a lot of right rudder and aft stick. A little bit of differential brakes. We're tapping on the brakes. Gradually bringing the power up. Looking for 40 on the manifold pressure. As the nose comes down, I put a little aft stick in so I don't dig the prop. It's 100 knots, airborne, positive rate, gear up, runway heading, 9290 heading, straight out. There's our flap speed, bring nose up, flaps are all the way up, gears up. Alright, let's go try to find San Diego. I'm going to bring the engine back to about 25 on the manifold pressure down here. Now, I've flown international most of the time. I did do a little bit of domestic during my 36 years with the airlines. Some airplanes over there on final to San Diego. Kind of cool. Parallel runways. We're going to fly over the Naval Air Station. Power way back. The Midway. It's right over here. I don't know. We'll try and get the big steep approach over the city. Try to touch down on the deck. Doing about 80 knots. There it is down there. Coming in on the screen. That's the Nimitz. That's the Midway. Right over there. Alright, so let's start slowing down. Get some gear down below, what do you say, 130 knots? There's 130. Start bringing some flaps out. Flaps are full. Stabilize. Airspeed power's coming up. 20 on the manifold pressure. 96 knots. Try to go find this ship. Gear down, flaps down, 110 on final, on a base turn here. Start bringing it around, over the city. I don't know, get it around quicker so I can get a better look. 90 knots. There it is over there. It's hard to make out, but 95 knots. this is going to work out. So don't try this at home. I doubt this is going to work very well. Sorry, Midway. I don't know. Did I survive? Hi, guys.